It's Tuesday, the 11th of June, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get going. Story number 1. Some of Australia's bluest of blue chip companies have been among the worst performers on the ASX over the past year, with household names, things like Telstra and Woolworths, among the poorest yielding stocks on the bourse.
That's right, Michael. There are a bunch of companies who are dragging down the S&P ASX 200. Telstra, with its 1.3 million shareholders, leads that list with its share price off 18% over the past year. Compare that to the broader ASX 200, which is up 10% over the same time period, and you see how poorly the telco has done. Broadly, Telstra is struggling to compete in some areas of its business, and it isn't seen as a tech leader in things like artificial intelligence. Woolies is off 14% of the year as it rides the vagaries of both the interest rate and political cycles. It's also losing to Coles in some areas. Energy group Woodside has been sold off too, down 22% over the year. Energy prices partly explains that one. Another big company to severely underperform is toll road group Transurban, which has lost more than 10% over the past year. It's been hit by expectations of lower rates and management change. The 4 are all top 20 stocks, and investors have done really poorly.
Sean, those 4 companies are all from very different parts of the economy, right? So what does this mean then for investors?
It's a cliche, but it is a stock picker's market. Now, any investor needs to get professional advice, so keep that in mind. But at the moment, the ASX is a market where not all companies in a sector will do well or do poorly at the same time. Knowing more about the individual company is more important than ever. Take this next list of companies. All have done really poorly in the bottom 25% of the ASX over the past year. Fletcher Building, IDP Education, Sonic Healthcare, Nine Entertainment, Domino's Pizza, all from different parts of the economy. Point being that investing in a stock picker's market can be much more difficult. If you don't pick the right stock, you can easily get badly burnt.
Indeed. All right, on to story number 2 now, Sean, and the fight over energy policy is, I've got to say it, heating up. Sean, with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese yesterday saying that opposition leader Peter Dutton is worse than Scott Morrison on climate change after the coalition restated its refusal to back Labor's energy policy.
Mr Albanese said Mr Dutton is walking away from climate change, and when Labor announced its policy, it had the support of interest groups from across the political spectrum. He said the opposition leader is afraid of the future. For their part, the coalition says it's committed to the Paris Agreement, which demands global temperature rises be kept below 2 degrees Celsius this century compared to pre-industrial levels, but it doesn't like the way the government's going about achieving those goals. The government's legislated targets for a 43% of carbon emissions by 2030, that's compared to 2005 levels, and net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050.
Story number 3, business class airfares are getting cheaper as airlines ramp up international routes and the leisure boom, Sean, settles down a little.
FCM Consulting, which is part of Flight Centre, says the cost of flying business is 12% more expensive this year than 5 years ago pre-COVID. But it's better than 12 months ago when it was 18% more expensive. Economy prices are more stable, about 11% above pre-COVID levels, according to the Global Quarterly Trend Report. It isn't all about COVID. The cost of aviation fuel and inflation has also pushed up prices. The good news is that Qantas, Emirates and American Airlines are all due to add capacity in coming months, which will add competitive tension to the market.
Story number 4 today, Sean. Australians hold China in low regard despite 2 years of better relations under the Albanese government, while respect for US President Joe Biden is waning here, according to the Lowy Institute's annual poll.
So Australians value the US alliance, but they're worried about Joe Biden's age and capacity to govern. Australians are also critical of his approach over the Gaza conflict. If Australians had a vote in November's presidential election, 68% would go Biden, 29% Donald Trump. When it comes to China, just 17% trust Beijing to act responsibly in the world. It was 12%, so it's a bit better, but nothing like the 52% pre-COVID. Only 12% have confidence that President Xi Jinping will do the right thing. He's only ahead of Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. The poll also says that while the government and opposition are divided about how to lower carbon emissions, more than 60% of voters support both nuclear power and renewable energy to tackle climate change.
All right, last one, story number 5. Sean, what do you make of this? From next month, Austria will allow postal workers to enter people's homes to deliver parcels. This is for the general public, as it's grappling with the surge in home deliveries.
Very innovative, I reckon. The service is free, though homeowners will have to spend €289 for a smart lock device that, using a mobile phone, allows postal staff to unlock the door. About 40,000 have already been sold. The postal staff are then supposed to place the package on a designated doormat inside, lock up upon leaving. It's been piloted since 2021. Apparently it's worked pretty well. It's the first time it's been done in Europe. In the US, both Amazon and Walmart have offered limited in-garage delivery service, but not in-home delivery service. Interesting to see how this goes, Michael.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe we will see it here, Sean.
Perhaps.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Tuesday, the 11th of June, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 business news by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.